I want to remind everyone of my prediction, which is we're going to get a Jujutsu Kaisen B-side announcement, not a sequel series, like Kaiju number 8 has, where we're just going to get side stories. We'll get the Heian era flashback. We'll get, Tengen and Kenjaku's backstories. We'll get Yuki Tsukumo side story. We'll get Toji side stories. Like, this can go on forever, and it doesn't necessarily need to be drawn by Gege. Like, Gege can contribute a little bit here and there, but he mostly just needs to do the story. Get someone that draws similar to him, one of his assistants. And I think that would be a great way to continue Jujutsu Kaisen, because Gege has always been a very tunnel vision mangaka, right? Like, he's very much like, this is Yuji's story. I'm not telling you realistically any information that I don't need to tell you that Yuji doesn't already know. Now, of course, we have things like, going over to Kenjaku's plans in the United States. We have Kenjaku and Sukuna's, like, we do have parts of the story that aren't in just plain Yuji's perspective, but Gege really prioritizes that fish out of water, only feeding us information that we need to know when we need to know it. We can see that the last Shinjuku Showdown part has literally all just been most of people's criticisms of Shinjuku Showdown have gotten answered down the line. You could argue, did Gege just find out about the criticisms and then address them? Or was Gege always planning to address them and they just never happened because he literally didn't do a time skip? If he chooses to do like a B-side story, that would be really cool. But I sincerely doubt Gege is done with this shit, bro. Me and Broken Ronin have literally said, like, Gege writes like he's an author with the axe breathing down his neck, right? Like, Gege writes his story so quickly and doesn't really take... While he does great job of introducing characters, Higuruma is a great example of that. Gege just doesn't like to spend time to develop things. He's pushing shit forward. He writes like Renas do. Exactly. Yes. He doesn't take time to develop certain aspects of the story at all sometimes. And it's almost like your manga literally won most popular anime of 2024. Shonen Jump is not going to axe you tomorrow if you drop a boring chapter. It's just not going to happen. Gege's fast pace could make the story possibly make sense with an ending in 5 chapters. He actually is one of the only people that I would believe could pull off an ending that sticks it in 5 chapters. We have to accept that we're not going to get an answer to every single question. Something tells me that Gege is going to, for sure, finish the main storyline, Yuji's character, Megami's character, Sukuna's character. That is all possible to end in 5 chapters, right? The reason why most people are arguing that Jujutsu Kaisen won't have a satisfying ending in 5 chapters is because we have not a lot, I would say. We have a couple loose hanging threads that we all hope we're going to get tied up, but it's possible with it being only 5 chapters, everyone's kind of worried if we will get it tied up, right? We have to be honest here, Kenjaku's origins, Tengen's origins. The merger is a big one. I think we can still get the merger in 5 chapters. Why do you think the merger will still happen so soon to the ending? Wouldn't that just be rushed? I don't think so, because again, we have no idea what the merger actually is, right? It's possible the merger just literally fucking destroys the world, and then let's say, for example, Yuji being the new Tengen, which I've theorized for a long time with his new body, literally creates the new world or something like that. Now, you could argue that that's fucking wild. I'm spitballing. That's why I don't fucking write this shit, okay? But trust in the person that does write this shit to stick the landing better than I would. Think 1 chapter would be dedicated to Hikari and Arame? Absolutely not. At this point, we're not getting that fight. We're gonna get a satisfying conclusion to Yuji's story, Megami's story, and Sukuna's story. We'll get an epilogue as to what happened after the merger or what happens after the world ends. I think we're literally gonna get just Hikari is done after the arc. Oh, I beat Arame. And it's gonna be like, okay, based Hikari, you did. It's just not important at this point, right? I think Gege skipped past the fight too long to the point that no one fucking wants that shit anymore. As much as we want Hikari versus Arame, the time for it to come has passed. Like, the story has passed Hikari versus Arame by, right? Like, Yuji versus Sukuna and the finale of everything is 10 times more important. Like, there are so many in-between moments that you could have taken a pause from the Sukuna fight and moved into the Hikari versus Arame fight, but that did not happen. Listen, Gege Akutami has earned my trust throughout the run of Jujutsu Kaisen, where I think there are definitely some times I think he hasn't done the best. There are definitely some moments of JJK I think he could have done better. He's earned my trust. I trust his pen. I trust the thought process that he's had, especially after reading all of those interviews and just not getting to know Gege, but like just kind of understanding the way he thinks about things and how he intends to keep the story. This ending is something that Gege has been building towards since the beginning. And I think the kind of writer that Gege is, you have to imagine that Gege is not taking this week by week. The entire story of Jujutsu Kaisen has been something that Gege has been building for a long time now.